So, welcome back. We are playing Japan. Last episode, we were mainly trying to pass getting rid of serfdom, and we were having some difficulties. We recently had a difficulty, so we abandoned it, and we are switching to a different law, and we were kind of just waiting with bated breath to try and pass this. I think that this was a bit of a mistake. It's kind of easy to get engrossed in one aspect of the game and kind of lose track of the others, but we could also be doing other productive stuff. And so the two things I'm thinking of is, well, first of all, we could switch away from, isolationism to mercantilism fairly easily, and this would allow us to really not build anything that empowers the landowners, because we could just start importing it all. I'm not going to do this because I think it's not in theme with the isolationism of Japan and like kind of the play of the start, and so I'm doing that for like an RP reason, but I think that that would actually be a little bit better than enacting bureaucrats right now. What our plan now is to enact bureaucrats, and what we noticed, this is actually a pretty good time to go for it because the samurai are Republican. If we go to detail screens, which actually works now, before that button didn't work, they have the Republican ideology, which allows them to support elected bureaucrats. So now is actually kind of a good time to go for this, as a consequence of the ideology, which I think checking the ideology is particularly important if you're really trying to push political reforms through, and that's kind of what the name of the game is in Japan. Notably, we took the Industrialists out of government to do this. Not a lot of legitimacy, because we've been disempowering the Shogunate steadily, and we have 3 people in government, and so it will be hard for us to have a high legitimacy unless we switch away from monarchy to something like parliamentary republic, which is difficult because the samurai and... I thought the samurai opposed it, but the Shogunate definitely opposes it. And we would have to switch away from autocracy, because both of these give us legitimacy that is contingent on including the head of state and government. At some point we will want to switch to landed voting. I still think it's a little too early. A way you can kind of check and see if it's a good time... Here, we're going to unpause and let our construction go. A way you can check and see if it's a good time is you can go into government, go to reform government, and see what happens if you take the Shogunate out. We could get 20% higher than this if we had landed voting. It would also make other groups more powerful, so it would be a little higher than 20% more. And so I don't think it's quite yet, but I think it's soon-ish. Okay, so I was talking about we have other opportunities. I think we can maybe think about trying to expand in Indonesia versus these really weak, 1+4 battalions. I don't know if we can land them. It seems that Paradox is patched and adjusted to make landing people easier. We have no boats, so we need to build 1 boat. And so let's get on that. We're going to build 1 boat here, so we can do landings. Because we still have the 20 military. We deleted almost all of our mills in our opening steps, which I actually think was very good, because we're still paying really high military wages, which is helping to keep the samurai off of our backs and avoid radicalization. So, if we're thinking about expanding, I really like taking this area of Indonesia, because they will eventually have oil there, which has never ever been a problem for Japan in a global geopolitical sense ever. Okay, so Banjar we'd maybe want to take, and so we're going to start damaging relations with Kutai as well. And then Dutch East Indies, we will probably not want to tangle with. I think they're a little too strong for us. They are. And I really don't want to wind up our military super big, so this is just going to be another min-maxy thing. We could also look about maybe expanding to these guys, because they're not that strong, and just puppeting them. If we take a look at their market, let's take a look at if they have cheap stuff that we need, like sugar and silk and dyes, although they don't have a ton of it. So, we could maybe think about puppeting these guys. We do have to maintain subjects. The Mapuche have risen up against us. Oh no. And that is more fronts than we would like. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to recruit a general, unless they're just all Shogunate. Okay. They are all Shogunate. Well, we might have to recruit one anyways, because this is... if they assign to these fronts, we'll have to recruit one anyways. Then I think we are going to start damaging relations with Argentina and Chile as well. Oop. That's their market. Because we can't invite them to our market because we're isolationism. So, in order to stay isolationist, we're going to have to do that. Now, looks like... yeah, they don't have any protectors of any kind. Okay, so that's that. I think we might have also winded down... oh, we winded down, I forgot. So, our one arms factory does not make arms right now. If I recall correctly, because they have specifically this malice. Let's see if we can turn it on and make them make some arms. I think they have the malice, the event malice, so they will produce 0 arms. Yeah, they will produce 0 arms, so we actually, we might have to white piece, oh, now we've switched PMs back to regular, that's not good. We're actually going to switch to defend front. Because, something I've noticed, these guys have 67 defense, which I don't know what all this is about, or how Paradox explains / justifies this. Although I guess we could push in if it's just the 1 and just the 2. I'm not... that's trench infantry right there. Okay, and another thing, there was a third thing. So we're talking about expansion, maybe changing markets. The third thing we can do is, if we look at our institutions, we can expand our institutions greatly, specifically colonial affairs, because we have, what is it? Inefficient tax capacity in a lot of places. So it's not as expensive for us to increase our bureaucracy, because we kind of get a refund on some of it by expanding our tax capacity, so we will actually do this as well. Oop, what's this tab? We'll do, and I'm looking to just see where we need it the most. Next is Kanto. Okay, and now what research did we just finish? Okay, Quinine was what we just finished. Dialectics will allow us to increase our education investment, which is currently empowering the Unholy Alliance, so we're probably going to go that. But Central Archives is actually also quite good, so we'll go Central Archives, because that will allow us to expand a lot of our institutions as well. Well, actually, Order of Operations is a little important here, I think. I think we go Dialectics first, and then Central Archives. Because that way we can start increasing the institution, and then we can get the people for it. And we are currently enacting appointed bureaucrats. If we just tank it, we might switch back to abolishing serfdom. And just kind of keep... we've been switching back and forth. We might keep doing that as a general pattern. Alright, my kingdom for someone who makes sugar and fabric. So, my kingdom for one of these guys. So we will probably look to subjugate one of these guys, I think. We will not try and subjugate a place like Uruguay, because we would have to land them, and we have no navy. We can recruit an admiral, though. Again, if they are all... So, this guy's not a shogunate guy. And, this is good enough, you'll do. Don't like running the deficit. We're going to continue running the deficit for a while, though. Oh, we're paying subsidies. We don't like that. The subsidies are railways. The way we can get rid of that is by making the railways more profitable. The way we want to make railways more profitable is taking money from the landowners. How do we do that? The landowners make money off of plantations. We can go into these plantations and we can turn on rail transport, which will increase the demand for transportation, which will make the railways more profitable and will make the landowners less profitable. So this is kind of, when they are less profitable, they'll have less political power. All of this is like kind of stuff we've been doing to decrease their clout over time. They started at like 50. It's a little bit slow going. They are getting some from hereditary bureaucrats, which is why we want to get rid of it. They're also getting a ton from serfdom, which is really why we want to get rid of serfdom. Whoa, see, now it's minus 31. So we'll just defend this front. Because 67 defense. And oh, why are you so low, my guy? Do you have poor supply? Don't have poor supply. He is disliked, though. So he's just gonna stay put and let this guy push. I think I had this glass in the queue because I wanted to turn on the PMs in for market stalls. Maybe? Oh, they're already all turned on. And we will turn this on eventually, but not yet. First we wanna take money from the landowners first before we switch. Also, it's firing laborers who, if we look, they're peasants and samurai and a little bit trade unionists, and so we're firing interest groups that we are not the ones we are trying to empower. Notably, their attack is not insane, so this is why we're just defending on the front where they have 3, and we're gonna try and push on this other front. We might want a 3rd general, so we can put 2 generals here and 1 general here. But I think this is fine. This would be easier if we actually could make small arms, but we got the event where it says, stop making small arms, and we're like, well, we don't really care about them anyway. Transportation's up. Are we out of paying subsidies? We are. So as soon as we start paying subsidies again, we'll activate more PMs that use railways in order to keep the subsidies off of our balance sheet and instead just put that expense onto the landowners. Now, we're about to complete a naval center, which means we are going to need military ships. Because we're isolationists and we have to make everything ourselves. We are making ground here, so I think we will steal the pooch from the pooch. Very tempted to make another general here. And we might try and conquer these guys later. I guess we'll damage relations with you as well. Because you need to have bad relations in order to declare war on people. Ah, our small arms are turned back on, it appears. We have started making them again, just in time for our war. Very convenient. Yep. Let's take a look at our market. What's expensive? I imagine paper's going to start getting expensive here. It's not. Clippers are expensive. Understandable. Let's see. We're going to take a look at all of our shipyards. So, we will expand the one that's only making clip. Well, we want to expand this one. Because there's a throughput bonus here. And then fertilizer's expensive, but we want it expensive. We don't want to build all of the... So, like, we don't want to build dyes, we don't want to build silk, we don't want to build fabric because they empower the landowners. They'll find substitute goods for this. We don't want to build tobacco. We can get meat. And we want it from the whaling stations, not the ranches, because the ranches are owned by the landowners. Whaling stations are not. Alright, so we're gonna have this guy. This guy's trying to advance in, and he can't. So we'll have him advance this front and defend this front. And maybe this is enough to enforce the war goal. I think this is enough. And they moved with us, so we will switch to just defending both the fronts, and we will weight them down because we control enough of the war goal. Okay, and what's expensive? Our standard of living has dropped precipitously. That is a little unfortunate. We got pretty unlucky missing abolish serfdom 3 times, so hopefully we don't get that again. Now, you have no railroad. Let's put a railroad here. And where else do we have infrastructure problems? Kyushu. Okay, now we could use more government admin in here. And then we also wanted to make more paper because we're increasing the admins. And we're going to make them here and here, trying to, we care about the throughput bonus, especially because we're isolationist. I think increasing quantities is much more important than profitability, because the bigger quantity, which will mean that we pay less for paper, because we are the ones consuming the paper. We pay for it in both of our academia places and our government admins, so as a government, we're eating the paper, so we just really want to increase the paper supply more so than make the paper places profitable. Now, why do we have... I mean, we can just hold positions, and they can't advance us. So I think we're just going to do that. I don't think we're going to try and advance them. About to get the tick on enacting early bureaucrats. So that's nice. And that will go a long way to both making the Shogunate weaker, because if you take a look at the Clout, we gotta go back, 25% bonus from hereditary bureaucrats. And we want to, yes, okay. So a little bit of luck after some bad luck last session. This also gives political strength to the Intelligentsia. Also taxation capacity, which is why our income shot up. Because we are suffering from inefficient taxation everywhere, and so the increased capacity helps. So now, the Intelligentsia, did that also just spike the intelligence? Yeah, so you look... I thought it created a new equilibrium that you got attracted to, but this just seems to be, this sharp decline and sharp uptick, just seems to be straight up instant, you know, the minus 25% plus 25%. So now, our Unholy Alliance combined is 20% support, and the Samurai, who notably have gotten quite a bit happier with us overall because, so let's take a look. This was very, very fortunate for us. He has a +5 bonus because we recently enacted appointed bureaucrats. Normally he doesn't support this, but he's Republican, so it's fortunate that he's a Republican, because now, when we try and abolish serfdom, he's only going to be at -2, so he's not going to create this interest, this political movement to keep serfdom, so we only have to deal with the Shogunate, who's down to 23% clout, which is quite low. In fact, it might be so low that taking him out of government, probably not. Yeah, so we're almost as legitimate without him if we were to get the 20% by switching to landed voting. Which we're not going to do because I think we just straight up get rid of serfdom and then go for getting rid of landed voting. But if we got landed voting, right now we get 30% authority from having him in the government, the landowners, and this would just give us flat 20. And so, and it would also make, it would make other IGs more powerful and the landowners less powerful, because this just gives political strength to aristocrats, and this gives flat political strength to 4 different groups. So, that might be next on the menu, but we are going to try and abolish serfdom first. Now, we're actually going to switch the government a little bit. We're going to put the Unholy Alliance back in, the Industrialists and the Intelligentsia, because the samurai have served their purpose. We are going to radicalize a few samurai, but they are quite happy with us. And Mapuche is letting us know that they will capitulate. And so, we have screwed the Mapuche. I'm checking. Very nice. So this area does allow wheat farms, which is something we would have wanted. So I think that, and this place has dyes and sugar. Perfect. So what we're going to do is we are going to crank a port there, so they will get attached to our market. And then we are going to make some sugar here. I think that they can just road it over, and they will have access once there's a port here. There might already be a port here, so this port's unnecessary. Let's see what they have to say. So so they have market access. Okay, so we will immediately start making sugar and dyes. And, actually we gotta take a look how many pops there are there. Not a whole lot. So, they are having a bad time though. And what's this? Agriculture throughput. Nice. So we will make one of each, rather. Because I'm not sure they can fully employ them. Yeah, like there's employment issues here. They'll slowly tick up, but alright. So now we have Quinine as well. So this one should be pretty quick. But I do think we want to make we need to keep the declared interest in Indonesia in order to finish this place. Once we finish this place, we will start to try and get into the Congo and hope we don't get cut off. That seems to be what happens quite frequently, is just getting cut off from the Congo. We could try and fight Oman for this little territory, because then it'll be a lot harder to cut us off, and we'll snake in through here. But that seems to be, the great powers are pretty good at cutting people off, but we have 32 million pops, so we colonize real fast. And we're going to declare neutrality here. Alright. So we got a lot of good things going for us now. 40% success chance on abolishing serfdom. And if we take a look... why do you make this? Why do you do this to us? So they are making... The samurai created a political movement to restore serfdom despite them not actually being very mad at us. Because they're Republican and they're neutral. They are neutral. I guess it's just because it's a -20 oppo that they're going to be doing this no matter what. And so this is what I said at the start of the game, where the samurai have the Bakufu ideology, which if you look, they strongly endorse serfdom. And they oppose serfdom abolished, so they get real cranky, and this is unique to the Japanese, which makes getting rid of serfdom as the Japanese harder than anywhere else, because you're gonna, I guess, always get this preserve serfdom thing, and so now if you look at our stall chance, it's higher than it would be if it was just from the Shogunate, because we have end of discussion factor, because we have 24% just coming from the Shogunate, so this is like what you would get with a normal country, but an additional 12.7% coming from the preserved serfdom political movement that is made by the armed forces. or the samurai with their bakufu special ideology. But I still think we're strong enough to get it through. If we can't get it through, and we get like a particularly bad event, we might get landed voting, and then take the shogunate out of government. If we are successful, then we will probably do landed voting and take the shogunate out of government anyways, which we need for the restoration. Let's see, where is that here? So we'll activate if the shogunate are not part of government. We don't want to take the shogunate out now, because then we won't have enough legitimacy to keep going. Actually, well, we could take them out now. We just wouldn't be able to pass stuff. Our ticks would be really slow, but then we would have less chance of stalling. I think you can make an argument. I think it might be correct to take them out now, but I'm not going to, because passing... Not because if all I had to do was revoke serfdom, then I would do that. I would take them out, but I want to do landed voting immediately afterwards, and so I don't want to put them back in and then take them back out, because it's just getting more radicals. Well, it's not that many radicals. I think that it should be more radicals. So we would get 17k, and we would lose 5k loyalists, which isn't that much. But it would cause our ticks to also be really slow, so we would reform slower overall. What if we put in someone who opposes getting rid of serfdom as well? So peasants, petite bourgeoisie. I'm just seeing if this would work. And then who's the strongest? Yeah, that's not. That's not a thing. And we're running a surplus. Are we running that through the Shogunate's Malice? We are running that through the Shogunate's Malice, so we're making quite a lot of money right now, but... And the reason why we really wanted both sugar and dyes, and we want them overseas, is because if we build them locally, they will empower the landowners, but you don't get much clout from overseas, unincorporated, or it's unincorporated that's important, not being overseas. That's like EU stuff talking. Alright. Bessemer process, I think, is important. If I recall correctly, Bessemer process switches you from being... No, you're just always privately owned. Okay. It's gonna make a lot more steel. It's gonna make iron cheap. Iron is like our biggest government expense. And so... Oh no, wait. It's going to consume a lot more iron. So I don't think we want to do this. We like that iron's cheap because it's our biggest expense in the government, basically, because we're eating a ton of it. So we will not. Let's see. We're currently building the shipbuilding yard. We have a bunch of stuff we don't want to decrease the price of. And then, I guess it's lead and coal. So, okay, let's get on that. It's unfortunate that, and then Hokkaido, the expanding gold fields is going to become a little bit of an issue. And then, are we paying any in subsidies? We are, so we're going to turn on more PMs for the railways. Which... It's just this delightful interaction where we are sticking it to the landowners while simultaneously getting rid of our own subsidy. Now there's one sugar plantation. I don't know if we... they don't have a lot of laborers there anyways, so we do want to do that. Okay, so now we've enacted all the landowner stuff is already using it, and I think that we're still paying subsidies. So now we're going to go into urban centers and look to... decrease their needed labor. Makes them less profitable, drives up the price of trains, which is what we want. Dutch East Indies wants an alliance with us. We do need 2 alliances with great powers, but I don't think Dutch East Indies is a great power. This is interesting. So far, the alliances seem like mega broken, though, so I just kind of like to avoid them. Or I get pulled into conflicts that make no sense and are just, like, counterproductive. Fabric is coming down in price. Why is that? Was it because the cattle farm here is starting to get better employment? I suppose I don't care about making this one more profitable, because this one is overseas. What I didn't want to do was make the ones back home more profitable, so I'm not using those PMs. But... And sugar is expensive. This is so beautiful. We finally have sugar, and we have sugar overseas. What we need is silk and dyes overseas. Actually, we do have a dyes thing overseas. And meat and coal. Now it's all goods that would empower the Shogunate if we were to build them in our mainland. So we're not gonna go that way. Luxury clothes are super cheap. Let's see what our middle class is consuming. And our lower class. Tea. And the cheap services. Liquor. I do think we are using the most advanced PM we can to make booze. Yeah, we are. Yeah, we have a really big population, and we have a lot of peasants still, so using these labor-saving... I don't think we're going to be using labor-saving PMs for a while. Something that's been easy for me to overlook is making sure that I have secular when I want it, and all that. Silk goes up, tea goes up. Yeah. I think once we get rid of serfdom, we might want to, then we might be okay building some of this domestic stuff, because that will really kneecap the Shogunate anyways. We're just gonna build what we can, I guess. You know, like, this is not high demand stuff in our market, but it's, I love that it now tells you how much open infrastructure you have. On release, it did not, which was incredibly frustrating. And what text? We're going dialectics into central archives. But after that, we will kind of switch back to industrializing, and we'll probably go nitroglycerin. Because we will be okay, Clipper's still expensive. Am I making wine here? Alright. Oh, we get the bad event. So this event's pretty bad, so we're actually gonna switch again. We've switched off of this so many times. But we will cancel this, and instead we will go for landed voting. Samurai, so this means if we do this, so we'll tick. The samurai will be mad at us afterwards, so they will radicalize, but I think this means we can also just straight up take the Shogunate out of power, after we do this, because if we take a look, we reform the government like this, we'll be at like 40-something% with just the Unholy Alliance, which is like what we want. And timing this one is also like important because we are benefiting from the authority as well. So I'm just having a think. I'm not like 100% sure. We could also just go for total separation, which will, is maybe not the most Japanese-themey one, but this would help the Intelligentsia relative to, we don't have discrimination problems based on religion, though. Yeah, I mean, I think this is it. I think this is what we're doing. Landed voting. We could also switch to wealth voting. Which I think that, do you guys oppose it because the Bakufu trade, or just you just oppose it? No, they just oppose it, from the normal ideology. Okay, we're gonna go for landed voting instead, because we got a bad event. There's not much opposition to it. There's no stall chance. So we will get this through relatively quickly. And now we're making a lot more money. And we want to, again, greatly expand Kanto, Chubu, Kansai, and Kyushu. Kanto, Chubu. We're expanding government administrations. And we put one at the top of the queue and the rest at the back of the queue. Okay. We still have good relations with all these people except for Lugan. Let's see if they have a navy of any kind. Oh, and they have dyes. We love to see it. Okay. They have no naval base. They have 2 barracks. So we could probably take them. I'm guessing. And then we will have a nice little foothold to attack Kutai and Benjar. So we are going to turn on line infantry before we do this. Which will take a little while for our 1 military factor to wind up. And we're paying subsidies again, terrible. So we're going to go into the buildings. We're going to go into urban this time. We're going to go to these, and we are going to switch all these over to public trains. Requires 131 more transport. I think we can support that. I suppose I should have checked. Yeah, that should be fine. I don't think that'll cause a shortage. It did cause a shortage. Son of a bitch. Alright, we'll turn it off in our biggest one. Should get rid of the shortage. Yeah. No? Oh, you have a fertilizer shortage. Different type of shortage. Yeah, transport. Yeah, we could definitely activate, so... we will take a couple of these off of using fertilizer. But we just a little bit, because we want fertilizer to be expensive. Notice they make more profit when we take them off of fertilizer. This is important detail for making the Shogunate weaker, because we can depress the profit of these guys by forcing them to use fertilizer, and then when they're using fertilizer, they actually produce more grain, so we're getting more output in terms of like what we care about, while decreasing how much money they make, which is pretty cool. I think we're gonna need more paper as well. We are eating the paper, so the paper being low kind of helps our government price. And right now we're just gonna let ourselves accumulate a little bit of a surplus before we like really start cranking out the building again. I think we're doing okay on infra. Yeah. Mainly just waiting for this landed voting, but getting ready to land this guy. Now, I think we just want to take, was this East Borneo or South Borneo, and just leave him this. Well, let's see. We just want to conquer the state. I think that Bhutan will side with the enemy. I think there's a decent chance he just backs down because we're just taking one state, not everything from him. And I'm hoping we can land him. He doesn't have any navy, but the landing stuff is just very opaque. He is worried. Good. Neither of these two we care about. So, one moment. Alright, we are back, and it will take us a moment to get our bearings. Of course, we've revoked serfdom successfully now, right? Oh no, we haven't. We're working on landed voting. I forget that my camera blocks the advance, but we have success in advance. We're not going to stall out, we're just going to go right through. Because the only people who oppose landed voting are not in the government. Samurai notably will become mad, but once we take the Shogunate out of government entirely, which we'll do once we enact landed voting, it'll be pretty easy to do easy TM. It'll be pretty easy to get rid of serfdom. Kinda want to build more construction, but I feel like that's probably a no-no right now. I'm gonna check the infrastructure in our one place that produces the two things that we care about. Using 2 of 2. So you are gonna need a railroad. And I don't even think... You are getting full employment, nearly. Now, why can't you employ... You're almost full employed, though, right? No, you're having some difficulties. We probably actually have difficulties with the railroad, too. We're just gonna... They're just having problems there, anyways. Okay, so we do need to try and occupy our queue. We're just trying to build into having, you know, advantages. Stuff we won't have to build later, even though it's, like, not most optimal right now, because we still don't want to empower the landowners. I forget it's in the transportation. Well, maybe we are okay giving them a little bit of power. We really could use some silk, if I recall correctly. Okay. Where do we have the most peasants? I think you have infrastructure open. I guess I didn't check. And they're barely turning a profit with super cheap, depressed priced iron, which is why we are barely paying anything. Even this, like, half price iron, we're still paying 20k on it, so once iron ramps up, we'll have problems. I don't think we have steel frame buildings yet, in terms of what we can use. But this maybe we don't build any more construction centers, we wait for steel frame buildings. In which case, maybe we want to overproduce glass a little bit. Glass is already not particularly expensive, but it is something that is consumed a little bit by our pops. If we look at the middle class, glass is 5% of their expenditures, so this will help them out a little bit, but yeah, we really need to bring down sugar, because sugar is an input for the food industries. I guess we can expand the food industries a little bit, but I forgot. This is why I needed to get my bearings. We should have had both these guys immobilized on the off chance that they just back down entirely. So now we're going to try a naval invasion, and because I was really just hoping to get the back down. Oh, they have the Great British. Might be a reload, boys. I thought we were friends, man. I'm gonna reload for this. Or I should just... maybe that's not really in the spirit of the run. So we'll mobilize both of our commanders now. And try and improve relations with the British. But if the British still join against us, yeah, they're just cautious. We should have checked this beforehand. If they join against us again, what we'll do is we'll just back down. And we'll pay the man his money. Which will hurt, but it's only for 5 years. Yeah, we shouldn't have reloaded. We deserve to get clapped. We will not reload again. Even if they do get... But... We will watch this, I suppose, which we should have been doing beforehand. Alright. Alright, Great Britain got swayed, so now we're gonna offer to make this guy a puppet in return. Because we will be taking the most important state anyways. Oh, now he's not having any of that. This is what we get for getting involved in international affairs. Prompt clapping. Okay. Sway. We're isolationists, so they can't pull us into their market. I don't think they can puppet us with this. I think this is kind of free. Oh, but I think that we don't want to do that, because if they join, then there will be a starting border, and so the British can just send people there. Alright, we're gonna fight this war and maybe have to, force recognition. If we add force recognition, we will not be able to... Well, first of all, we would never be able to enforce it, but, no. So, guy joins... And we will put our weak little peasant guys on the front. And Great Britain only has 17 coming? Which I don't even think we wanted to do this, because I think what we wanted to do was try and land in Blitzkrieg. With our really not so great military. So I'm guessing we're going to lose this war. Fabric and clippers are expensive. If we can... Well, fortunately, like, we're not making a ton of money anyways, so... Looks like we actually might win this war. I don't think Great Britain will be able to land us very effectively. Now, we couldn't really put in any war goals against them, because I think if we put in war reps, it would have been difficult to enforce. So... yeah. Yeah, they just don't send... They didn't send enough guys. This is just not enough for them to do what they want to do. We'll take a look at the market prices now. That war is pretty much out of our hands. Why can't we click new import route? Yeah, we can. We shouldn't even be able to click it, I think. Definitely the Industrialist. The Unholy Alliance continues. The British might not even get there in time. We will switch our one admiral to bravely escort convoys here. I don't think it makes a difference, considering the difference in number of boats. Enough infrastructure. This will help with the fertilizer prices, so we'll do that. Normally I don't like building too many livestock ranches, because I feel like they're less efficient. Maybe I'm just wrong. And we got landed voting on the first tick. Brilliant. Okay, so now we're running a bit of an authority problem, so we're going to stop bolstering. Oh, we got Reformer here from the Shogunate. So we could do compulsory primary school, property of women, and cultural exclusion. So we might want to make use of that while we can, while they're still in the government. I know I said we were going after serfdom, but... Well, first of all, let's point out the whole point of passing landed voting was so we could do this and barely take a ticket legitimacy. But now we could go to cultural exclusion. The thing is, I think we're almost entirely Japanese, and so yeah, we're really predominantly Japanese. So that we're discriminating against the Patagonians and the Ainus, or Ainus, however it's pronounced, is not as much of a worry, and we like the authority. Yeah, reform is not going to help for much else. It still opposes stuff like that. Oh, we can't yet abolish serfdom, because, we have to wait another 9 weeks. We could wait 9 weeks. Could also just go for property to women. We just run one tick of this. And then, you know, which is... because 9 weeks is basically half of this, so we're going to run one tick of this, and then take the Shogunate out of government. and go for abolish serfdom, I think. Oh, I forgot that. I always forget that parties get formed. Oh, now we're fully legitimate. Oh, because they're a reformer. Well, now we have a bit of an annoying situation because they're locked in with the Unholy Alliance. So this this alliance has suddenly gotten very much more unholy because the Shogunate is now locked in with them, so we can only change the entire thing. So, we're gonna be along for the ride on abolishing serfdom. Oh, but why do we have such a big plus? Oh, the groups have just grown this much? Was this a Clout reorganization tick as well? Let's take a look at Clout. But we will take one tick off the top for this. It looks like we're winning this war. We are going to owe an obligation to them, but they can't pull us into their market because reasons. Now, we do want to get enough to be able to afford an uptick here in education. Actually, I think we'll send it to Colonial Affairs. How much is this? 322 bureaucracy. Will we get that off of just this one bureaucratic institution? I'm not sure. I'm not sure we have the ability to migrate yet, so... I mean, if they're not going to send more guys... This will be a quick pickup. Ah, yes. So, one thing, the downside of going landed voting, this decrease in authority. Notice now we have the sharp downtick and the uptick, and this is a result of losing clout based on the law. But what we will do is we have to... So we can do a couple things. We can either get rid of 2 consumption taxes, which they're not all that productive anyways, or we can stop bolstering. I think we're going to stop bolstering the Industrialists, because I think they're well on their way to becoming powerful on their own. They don't need our help anymore. Because we like money, because we like construction. We're not going to build any more construction until after this war is resolved, because I don't know if the UK just drops a 50 stack on here, we'll be big sad. And now we are super legitimate though, so that's one nice thing is we're getting 180 days for a tick. Minus a little bit because we have enactment time from authority. Alright, so now we will go for Central Archives. Because we are still having taxation capacity problems. If you're having taxation capacity problems, son, you're at 99 problems, but taxing one. I thought we put a railroad at the top of the queue for this, but we did not, or we did before we loaded. Slow and steady progress there. Fabric, so expensive. We want to get it cheap, but we want to, well, just a little bit of fabric won't hurt anyone. Because it also makes our other guys down the road more profitable too, you know? Like all the tailors. It would be like an end-of-the-road thing where if we were making fabric and exporting fabric, that would be really bad in terms of empowering landowners, but this is not that situation. Why are they having such a negative? They have more radicalism than us? Okay. This alliance is very unholy, though. Very interesting we get him as a reformer. He also notably is one of our generals, so perhaps we should not even be fighting with him. Cool. Won't be using that PM for, like, forever. Yeah, we're not being the British in a straight up fight with our guys. Maybe we should just set our guys to defend the front. We will actually set the guy who's the reformer to defend. It's Hidetatsu Igawa. The other guys can advance to the front. Alright. Yeah, so like we offered an obligation here, and I think one of the big disadvantages of offering an obligation is that you can get pulled in their market. But since we're isolationists, we can get pulled into nobody's market. And I don't think he can force puppet us. That would be really annoying if he could do that with just the one, but looks like I'm the only one advancing. So I'm not gonna make any progress if the Netherlands doesn't advance. Which they're not. They're just holding the front. Will I enforce the war goal with just this? They can't be reduced below 0. So this might just be a white peace type of war. Because I can't push into the Great British guys. My army's just too weak. I mean, we could reenact that. Alright, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna build a second arms manufacturer. And we're gonna switch over to using cannons. Actually, we're gonna check the first one we have and see if it's even like full employment. It is. So we're gonna build a second one of these. And switch to making cannons as well. And then switch our PM. And then try and advance. Which I don't think we can. We can reform government for free. They would want to join the Constitutional Party. We don't want them in the Constitutional Party. Especially because we have max legitimacy anyways. Because we are going after serfdom. Which won't even make the Shogunate that mad, so we're abolishing serfdom. This alliance is very unholy though. This alliance makes me uncomfortable. This Shogunate with the Industrialists and Intelligentsia, their sworn nemesises, however it is. But I am deeply disturbed by this alliance. It's the unholier alliance. In fact, I think this might be a good place to stop. Next episode, we will be trying to enact serfdom. This episode, we started a war that we bit off more than we could chew here. We reloaded, shouldn't have reloaded, should have just tried to fight it and then capitulate with a big sad type of way. What is your shortage of rails? How do you have rail shortage? Is there a shortage everywhere? It's because my convoys are getting raided. Okay, that's fine. But yeah, this episode we got the unholier alliance of the Shogunate with the Intelligentsia and Industrialists, which leaves me greatly disturbed. Not sure what to make of it. Anyways, if you like this video, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and have a good one.